The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Carson-Newman Baseball's 2020 schedule has been released with Coach Tom Griffin. I'm Michael Wattrang for the Eagles Sports Network. Coach, you're a little over a month away from baseball season starting. It seems like time just flies by so quickly. What's been your preparation like getting ready for a new campaign?
Well, it's good to see you here, Mike. I know right in the middle of basketball season or at the beginning of this. But right now, like all schools, everyone's home for the break. Now it's the key of us, our upperclassmen, making sure we're doing what we're supposed to do while they're home. It's every coach's concern is, what are the guys doing when no one's watching them? Are they getting up, eating right? Are they training, the way they have been training here? So that when we come back, we got 21 days before we open up. So the key is we've got to come in, and as far as our training goes, it's got to be game training. It can't be, let's develop, let's, work like we did in the fall. It's a different type of training. We have to get it as game speed as possible, make it as game-like as possible, give our pitcher challenges with hitters, get our hitters challenges as far as the type of pitching they're seeing, and our defense has to get used to game speed. It can't be slow speed. Now, the good thing is we train that way all the time, but now we have to get it more situated towards the game. In fact, when we get back, we have 1 week before we scrimmage Tennessee Wesleyan, who won the national championship this past year, and probably one of the best clubs we're going to play all year, to be quite honest with you. So our guys have to be ready. Most importantly, our pitchers' arms have to be ready to handle that kind of workload for 3 weeks.
You mentioned national champions. Well, that's one of the games on the schedule. You get a 3-game set against the defending national champs and one of the Blue Bloods in Division II in Tampa. They come to this building really early in the season, just that third weekend in the year. You'll have about 10 games under your belt, hopefully, depending on weather at that point. How does that game try to set the stage for what you're trying to accomplish this year?
I know it's a great question, because obviously a school like that, it pops out because it is the premier Division II baseball school in the country, and what Joe Urso is down there as far as championships go. But as well as I do now, we can't look too far ahead, and I know we're doing schedule look at, so we do have to look ahead. I know that's part of this, but really we're trying to worry about who we got to be ourselves first, and then it will be Limestone on the road. And so we've got to make sure that we set the tone for our season about how we're going to play. And then what we want to do is just each day try to get better, be challenged, which we will in all our games. I think the schedule, like all of them, it's great parity. I mean, anytime you can get a Tampa to come up here to play, that's going to be a great experience for our guys. And then we have Northern School coming down. We have some weekends that we're going to play before conference weekend, which is good. It's going to get to a point where we may not get as many weekends available to play before we're playing conference play, because we're expanding our conference. So it's nice to have some games under your belt before you start conference play. And fortunately this year, that's the case.
Talk about how the schedule ends up shaking out, because you're 2 of your first 3 conference weekends on the road, at LR, at LMU. Then you flip the schedule over to the end of the season. 2 of your final 3 are at home, but against teams that probably will be favorites in the league in terms of Catawba and Wingate. Yeah. There's obviously no easy weekends in this conference, but how important is it for you to find a way to start strong and then defend your home turf at the end of the year?
I think it's crucial. I think for any player's psyche, how you start the season really builds upon it. You could take the Denny Crum approach, former coach at Louisville, where you kind of you try to play an easier schedule if you can decide who that is, and try to get wins or where you feel wins are, to build the confidence. Really, in our level, you don't know who's got what. There's no predictor of this. It's not like we're getting ratings on our recruits and we know that, this school has, 5 stars coming in. Who knows what we got? Most of us don't know what's coming back and who's leaving in December. So, yeah, you want to start out good, because that's just basically for the psyche. But as coaches, it's important to keep reminding them it's just one day at a time. Worry about the process. Let's just try to get better each time. Let's learn from each game that we play. That's really all we can control. Because if you allow the other things to start to come into play, then the minds start wandering way too much, and it's hard to corral them back in, man. It's like the cattle, and you got 4 or 5 guys thinking this over here. Maybe we're not that good. This group over here, the schedule. Can't worry about that, boys. Let's just worry about each day getting better and being the best version of ourselves. That's what we can do. So we, as coaches, have to constantly remind them of that purpose. LR, new coach in the league, Coach Ramirez, a phenomenal job there in Illinois. He's going to do a great job at LR. I mean, you're hearing a lot of good things. But new coach at Mars Hill, Coach Rembert had left, and his assistant took over. And I mean, the league is good. It's good. It's tight, man. UVA Wise is in here. Coach Banner. Been at UVA Wise quite a while. It's a good group of coaches with good programs, and I think our league last year showed how strong it is. When you look at the other teams in our region, boy, it was really good, and I think it's been that way. So every weekend is going to be a battle, and that's what makes this league, I think, over the last couple of years so successful.
Final question for you. They're working on it out there. That's what the loud noises are behind us. You're getting a turf infield. Obviously, when you look at the schedule, sometimes you have to put asterisks next to it because of rain and all this other weather. But that turf infield will play a little bit of a factor for you because you won't have to necessarily worry about it as much. How nice is that to be able to look at once they get that finished here in a couple of weeks?
It's a blessing. It's a blessing, the way it all came about and all that. I was fortunate. I mean, we've always talked about, you always talk about things you want, right? Sure. I know with Christmas coming up, the wish list you've got. So we all have that wish list. And it was fortunate. I mean, I'm grateful for the alumni who've helped us in a lot of ways. Langdon Potts, who's been a huge influence in our program, not only when he played here, but after. And Steve Cishek obviously gave us a big donation towards this. And his gift, his kindness, him and his wife allowed us to kind of do this. Langdon is kind of behind the scenes guy. He's the one who's kind of letting people know, hey, this is what they need. This is what. And fortunately, Steve and his wife were kind enough to allow us to do the infield, which is, we were sitting there 2 weeks earlier trying to get the dirt ready to play. It's wet, right? We couldn't do anything about it. In alumni weekend, it rained. We couldn't do anything on the field. And, you're looking at it and you're raking and dragging, doing everything everybody's got to do. And you're just thinking, you know what? I can't wait till we have turf here. And I told him, if we get turf, I'll never complain that it's hot on here. I will never do that. I will always be thankful that we have it because it does allow you to do a lot of things as far as practice and games. And we got rid of half the stuff in our shed. We got rid of rakes. We don't need rakes. We don't need shovels anymore. We got rid of a tarp to a local high school here. So we were able to give away a lot of stuff because of what you don't have to necessarily do now to the dirt. The outfield grass and all that is fine because, 75% of the games played on the infield. So we're so grateful for the gift that we got from Steve and his wife and the support from our alumni for some of the other ventures that we're trying to do here. Just grateful as all can be, man.
Coach, appreciate the time. Have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hey, thank you, Michael. We appreciate it. Glad you're back this year, by the way. We are thankful for that and all the work that you do and wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. He's Carson-Newman coach Tom Griffin. I'm Michael Wattring. This is the Eagle Sports Network.